Hi, everyone. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to talk to you today. At Bresslergroup, we have been researching the major shifts that are taking place in healthcare industry and are expected to affect it for at least the next decade. In this webinar, we have 30 minutes to share our perspective on why innovation is such a critical task in healthcare industry, and also a framework we have developed to help companies deliver better innovation. At the end of the webinar, we have another 10 minutes for the Q&A session. You are able to type in your questions on your Zoom dashboard. Hi, everyone again. I'm Ryan Chen, Director of Design and Innovation Strategy.
And I'm Anat Mooreville, a Design and Innovation Strategist.
We are from the Design and Innovation Strategy team in Bresslergroup. Our team focuses on connecting business goals with customer needs to help our clients determine what their next innovation opportunity is. We have 3 objectives for design and innovation strategy. First, strategic foresight, which helps the company to better understand and prepare for the future of the industry, be it 3 years or 10 years. From that understanding, company can develop a product strategy to achieve the desirable future. Lastly, to actualize on the strategy with tangible product innovation. The framework we have developed will help companies interested in health and wellness industry to navigate the 3 objectives and better deliver the outcome.
So first we'll start with why now? What are the current characteristics that are having an impact on healthcare today? First, the healthcare system is struggling to cope with an unprecedented surge in healthcare needs. We have 60% of Americans are currently living with at least one chronic disease. 1 out of 3 American adults are obese. And mental health claims have increased over 100% over the past 10 years. And of course, these diseases are incredibly costly. Nearly 85% of the nation's annual healthcare costs went toward treating chronic and mental health conditions. And this will be exacerbated by our aging population. By 2050, 1 in 5 people will be over the age of 65. Second is that healthcare is moving to value-based care to control spiraling costs and improve efficiency. And value-based care is a healthcare delivery model in which providers, including hospitals and physicians, are paid based on patient health outcomes rather than the quantity of care they deliver. So of course, this gives providers an incentive for keeping patients healthy. And this model stresses collecting and sharing patient data so that care is coordinated and outcomes can be measured easily. And we can see how quickly these models are proliferating, especially in the United States. And lastly, the consumerization of healthcare is opening the industry to new entrants and disruptors. Patients are evolving from care recipients to participants who play an active role in managing their own health. There are now over 300,000 health apps available, nearly double the number of apps that were available in 2015. And this has led to a lower barrier of entry to the market through startups and big tech. And companies have already just started to reflect this landscape in their own product strategy. Let's take a look at the global digital diabetes management market. There are a lot of startups in the space, including OneDrop, Omada Health, and Livongo, and they have connected blood glucose monitors and apps, personal coaching, and the ability to track activity, weight, and diet. And they've also started to expand beyond diabetes to manage prediabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, and obesity. And of course, these are also touted as value-based solutions, which not only leads to cost savings, but also reduced related diabetes health risks, especially cardio and vascular disease.
As Anna mentioned, competitive landscape has changed. Barriers to entry has weakened, and consumers are getting more empowered. Business is not as usual, and the industry shifts are not slowing down. We synthesize insights from the industry report, market data, and transporting platforms, and our internal Bresslergroup consumer megatrend framework, looking at how consumer social cultural trends and industry shifts impact healthcare. We have developed what we call Framework for Strategic Innovation, Health and Wellness. We see 5 shifts currently taking place in healthcare and will continue to impact the industry. They are clustered under driver, attributes, and enabler. The drivers is the shift in the consumer's perspective. It is influenced by the social, cultural, and demographic changes. The driver necessitates change in other parts of the framework. The attributes are the strategies that address the driver and leverage on the enabler. A company can use one, two, or all three attributes as part of its innovation strategy. Lastly, the enabler represents the appropriate design and technological tool for the delivery of the attributes. A company needs to ensure its solution fits the enabler in order to stay relevant. With that, we are going to the detail for each of the elements in the framework.
So let's start with the first one, health and wellness. In the old paradigm, focused on illness, clinical healthcare tended to be episodic and reactionary. It was focused solely on biomedical issues, and the patient was a more passive recipient of healthcare and trusted the physician's authority. In the new paradigm of health and wellness, it's a more proactive and preventive mindset. And this paradigm is focused on enhancing our well-being and health in all areas of our life, practically all of the time, whether we're tracking our steps, calories, or minutes meditating. And in fact, mental well-being and feeling good were actually the two highest qualities consumers associated with being healthy in a recent consumer survey. And that was more so than the absence of disease. And being a healthcare consumer means we have more choices in the services we desire and want more knowledge over those choices. So here are some examples of that from sleep tech, which was a category that barely existed 5 years ago. And the global sleep aid industry is on track to hit over $100 billion by 2023. And good sleep is in fact the third highest attribute consumers correlate with being healthy. And we can see both medical and consumer companies are entering this space. On the left, we have the ErgoNight EEG band, which is backed by Bresslergroup, which is a leading international healthcare group based in France. And this product actually won the CES 2019 Innovation Award in the wearables category. And based on neurofeedback, the device actually teaches you brain-controlled exercises that can help you produce brain waves that enhance natural sleep. And you have to wear it 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week. So not when you're sleeping. And this is a proactive approach to sleep enhancement. It's not necessarily based on treating any specific condition. And on the right, we have Bose noise masking sleep buds. It's a well-known consumer audio company. And they use noise masking to help one get uninterrupted sleep. And it's no surprise that a company known for noise canceling headphones would want to enter this particular wellness category.
In each shift, we have identified opportunities and pitfalls. Here at the health and wellness, we have first, extend engagement to the entire wellness journey. How can the company's strength be used in wellness, prevention, and management? And not just diagnosis and treatment. Any weakness will need to be addressed as well. Second, make new connections with healthcare consumers along the entire wellness journey. As companies extend their engagement, they will need to meet healthcare consumers whom they are not familiar with in a context where companies may have not experienced before. It is important to start building new connections with these consumers, either directly or indirectly with partners. Lastly, there are numerous opportunities to deliver new benefits to the consumer by partnering with unconventional stakeholders. Seek out partnership in other industries. Think about fashion, entertainment, meal delivery, or even fitness centers. And they want to partner with you as much as you want to partner with them. In the pitfalls, we have failure to provide solutions that work together. Consumers do not need more siloed solutions. Experience move towards wellness. They need to ensure their offering work with existing and emerging healthcare solutions. Another pitfall is the failure to shift from the disease-oriented to wellness-oriented product. The feature and functions of a wellness device do not correspond to a medical product. Are you still designing wellness products with a medical mindset? Even for medical products, patients are increasingly expecting them to deliver consumer-level benefits.
And now we move on to the first attribute, empathic care. In the old paradigm of dispassionate care, it takes a quantitative approach to healing. I treat you as a number. doesn't necessarily take your life circumstances or preferences into account. It's probably not unlike your latest visit to an urgent care clinic. In the new paradigm of empathic care, healing is about being able to live your life the way you want to and being able to achieve meaningful and functional goals. It understands that your environmental context is an important part of that journey and that you, your physician, and your caregiver or family are all equal members of the team needed to make that healing happen. Here are two examples. On the left, we have the CareLoop Caregiver Support Platform, which is a mobile-friendly portal that helps families communicate and store important health, financial, and legal documents while having on-demand access to dedicated healthcare coaches who guide families through the many decisions they make over the length of their caregiving journey. And so this is focusing on the care team. It's looking beyond patient centricity to recognize how illness affects families and networks. And on the right, we have the GE Senograph Pristina mammography system, which features a range of ergonomic features that are intentionally designed to enable patients to be more comfortable. And this is including an intentionally designed calming room. On the tech side, rather than compress the breast automatically, under the direction of a technologist, the patient can actually set compression to a level that feels right for them. And so this is taking the patient's emotional experience into account to lessen their feelings of pain and anxiety and sharing power with the patient.
In empathic care, we have firstly designed for a more dignified experience. Show empathy for medical adherence is not the sole responsibility of the patient. Provide support and leeway during the healing journey. Second, rethink the emotional experience in the era of the smart data. Artificial intelligence, data analytics, and automation are here to stay. How do you build a new emotional experience for the patients? Remember to use technology to enable relationships, not to erase them. Lastly, don't forget to tap into the power of the community. Fulfill the need for social connection. By managing a space for peer communities to form, your engagement with the consumer will extend beyond the product feature level. A pitfall to remember is that empathy is not a marketing tool. Consumers are smarter than ever. They can identify brands which are authentic and those who only claims to be. It is extremely important to deliver on your promise. For failure to meet the expectation is the worst outcome.
Next, we move to the second attribute, data-informed personalization, the right care for the right person. Right, so in the old paradigm of generic treatment, your treatment simply is not targeted to you. It is based on population averages, and what is correct needs to be found through trial and error. Therefore, the dose that works for you may take some time to determine if the medication is effective at all. In data-informed personalization, the treatment is targeted to you. It's based on an aggregation of personal and big data, including genomics, preference and lifestyle data, and even social determinant factors. It can be iterative and is optimized to be given at the right time to be most effective. And here are two examples. On the left, we have Livongo, which is a diabetes management app and actually calls itself an applied health signals company and uses the equation that they call AI, where they aggregate data from multiple sources, they interpret it in order to devise a care plan for you, they apply it, and then they iterate it based on how you reacted to the first care plan. And on the right, we have Bayes, which is, they do a blood test to see what your current nutrient levels are and develop personalized vitamins based on your own deficiencies and needs.
So here, first and foremost, make personalization about emotional connection and not just efficacy. In a truly personalized solution, efficacy is just the first step. You will need to engage users beyond health data, know their preference and emotional needs. Better still, engage them to take part in the process of personalization. Second, companies can use data to build intelligence and influence across the ecosystem. For example, think about now, how much data do you have about your consumer? Traditionally, Healthcare data is mostly owned by a selected group of stakeholders in the ecosystem. They are the providers, the payers, or the distributors. As data become more democratized, you will gain access to more data, both within and outside the healthcare domain. Companies can then extend their influence with this new set of data. Knowledge is power here. Moving to the pitfalls. First, failure to give consumers power to control their own data. Security and privacy are just an entry requirement. Today, consumers are more willing than ever to share their personal data. However, they also demand more transparency and control on what is being done with their data and why. In the second pitfall, we have failure to make meaning with data. Collecting data without making any meaning of it is not personalization. It's just noise. Do not collect more than necessary, and design personalization that truly fulfill people's needs.
Next, we move on to anytime, anywhere. In the old paradigm of appointment only, care took place in a traditional location, like a doctor's office or hospital. It may take weeks to get an appointment, but that's the only option available to you. In anytime, anywhere, rather than revolve around the doctor, the time and location of care revolves around the consumer, not unlike how Amazon has made purchasing anything, anytime, anywhere proposition. And we can see this in the spread of telehealth, minute clinics, and apps. Like this one right here on the left, we have Ask ISA, which is made by Visual DX, which is a healthcare informatics company that has the largest medical image library. And ISA is a consumer-facing app, and through machine learning, it can analyze a photo that you take of something that concerns you on your skin, and it provides personal guidance and information on how to take care of it. On the right, we have Ping An Good Doctors, which is a healthcare platform in China, which has set up unstaffed 1-minute clinics housed within a phone booth-like structures. Right? You don't need to put it in a CVS. You can just be on the street. And there, an AI doctor sets up a diagnosis plan, which is then sent to a real doctor via telemedicine. And patients can then get their prescriptions filled by the smart medicine cabinet, which stocks over 100 medications. Right? And there are now 1,000 of these in place in China.
So in anytime, anywhere, companies can prepare themselves for a healthcare system with no physical address. Consider that the role of hospital will change as healthcare increasingly has no address. Challenge the assumption of when, where, and how quickly benefits can be delivered. Second, cater for non-expert use. Design a solution so both the healthcare provider and consumer can use it conveniently. Pitfalls include, first, failure to provide a desirable level of clinical care. While convenience will bring consumer to your product or service, delivering the right level of care with a high level of consistency will keep you there. Also, the companies should consider the needs of the healthcare provider. As we move towards anytime, anywhere, healthcare provider remains a critical stakeholder in building a relationship with the consumer. Don't forget the needs of the provider in the new form of care delivery.
And lastly, we move on to the enabler, seamless integration, end-to-end multidimensional experiences. In the old paradigm of scattered silos, focus is on a single product and its limited functions and features without necessarily considering the role it plays within the larger patient or provider journey. The tools probably focus primarily on diagnosis or treatment and is disconnected from other solution tools and platforms. In the new paradigm of seamless integration, it takes into account the entire patient experience, the physical and digital, quantitative and qualitative data, and moves easily between prevention and management, similar to the blood glucose monitors and apps I talked about previously. And it's also this consumer desire to have a single solution, rather than toggle between multiple products and companies. We have on the left here Stryker Joint Coach and Recovery Coach, which is a digital patient engagement and education platform that helps improve care delivery for patients undergoing joint replacement surgery. And patients have access to the app up to 30 days before their procedure and 90 days afterwards. It helps with pre-op preparation, any clinical protocols, information about medications, as well as a variety of recovery and rehabilitation activities. And these are delivered at key time intervals, as well as with a series of questionnaires and surveys that help ensure that patients are involved and engaged in their care plan. On the right, we have CureFit, which is an India-based omni-channel startup operating within the wellness space. And it provides services across 3 verticals. It has brick and mortar fitness centers, a healthy meal delivery subscription, as well as an app-based mental wellness program. So it's trying to be a solution that includes all the wellness components.
In the last shift, companies can establish an ecosystem or play a part within one. Think about how is your product part of the broader service. Can you build an ecosystem that delivers integrated solution? If not, how do you play a part within one? In addition, there are opportunities in providing seamless transition between health and wellness. Is healthcare decentralized? Ensuring consistency between different points of engagement become more important. The seamless transfer of data, user experience, and relationship will be critical. First pitfall we have here is a failure to establish the ecosystem around the healthcare consumer. Are you building your ecosystem based on what you are most familiar with, or based on what consumers really want? In the second pitfall, the failure to consider the influence of the tech giants. We are talking about the Apple, the Amazon, IBM, Google, or even Facebook. They are making waves in the healthcare industry. These tech companies have advantage in that they are already part of the consumer lifestyle. Think about how you can connect with their network.
So let's look at the framework in action. Consider how you measure up against this framework. How does it apply to your own products? Have you been taking into account how this consumer driver as you're planning for future innovation? Are you making use of these attributes and plugging into the digital physical integration tools that are either in use now or emerging in the marketplace? And we can see how well this is going for the digital diabetes management industry, and it's growing quite fast. And we think it's because they've encapsulated all 5 of these shifts. In health and wellness, these devices seamlessly move between prevention, treatment, and management, helping the patient lower their glucose levels through biometric tracking. In addition, it helps reduce the risks diabetes becomes a gateway disease to other health risks. Empathic care. These devices come with personal coaching, realizing that changing behavior is hard and often needs a personal coach to help you get through it. For data-informed personalization, it prompts action based on real-time aggregated data. One product predicts what your blood glucose will be in 8 hours and suggests actions you can take to counteract a possible blood glucose spike or drop. Anytime, anywhere. All of these devices have mobile and a watch app and a 24/7 response specialists and coaching. And lastly, seamless integration. These have integrated services and delivery across physical and digital platforms. It's an Internet of Medical Things solution. It's a complete system through the Bluetooth glucose meter, monthly delivery of test strips, and the tracking coaching, and the reports that these devices can generate that you can send to your own physician.
Disruption in healthcare industry will be more common than ever. As you think about your own product portfolio and innovation strategy, think about where you fit in the disruption paradigm. What is your approach to this inevitable shift? Are you sticking to what you're most familiar with and hope to respond fast enough when your customer, be it hospital or patients, tell you that they need something else? Or are you anticipating the shift and developing a robust plan to capture new opportunities? Or perhaps, are you leading the shift and redefining the market before others? We want to help companies understand this shift and develop the right strategies for their own specific strength and context. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me or Anat to get deeper insights and to ask how the tools we have talked about might fit into your innovation process. Our contact information is on the screen. With that, we want to thank you very much for your time. I hope you gain some useful insights and tips for innovation in this shifting industry. Thank you and hope to stay connected. Goodbye.